it. If you don't, you don't. Mostly there is a lesson behind whatever joke might have been cracked. Subhanallah. Sometimes it may be a big lesson, and sometimes it's a smaller lesson. But yeah, that's primarily the reason why I joke. Break the ice. Get the people to realize, what, this guy is calling me towards Allah, but he's doing it in a beautiful way. I can understand, I can relate, I remember a thing or two. They will listen to more things. The idea is not the joke. The idea is what lies beyond that joke. So if I spoke for 30 minutes and cracked 2 jokes, tell me, what did I do for the other 25 minutes?
I listened to a lot of your lectures, mashallah. You're explaining the concepts, the principles, and the joke is to draw them in. To keep it lighthearted. Although that's an art, ya Sheikh. A lot of people who don't do public speaking, they don't understand this art. You and I understand this art. And people pay big bucks to learn this art of how to engage the audience. Would you say most of your audience are young people?
I think so. But I think I've cut across the age divide. So I have old people, middle-aged people, young people, and very young, and children as well. In fact, I went into cartoons, I went into kids' content, I went into teenage programs, and then we've been into marriage and divorce, and then we went into taking care of parents, grandparents, and so we've cut across the entire age spectrum.
Allah, Sheikh, I've seen it. I've seen kids approach you, giving you high fives, fist pumps.
And we give it back to them. So you've got to speak to everyone on their level. حَدِّثُ النَّاسَ عَلَى قَدْرِ عُقُولِهِمْ أَوْ بِمَا يَعْرِفُونَ. I try my best to speak to everyone as per that advice, that everyone on their level. So if there is someone generally practicing, they may not appreciate that we're actually aiming at the vast majority who are struggling to practice or not practicing, or sometimes not even Muslim. And a lot of people don't realize that. Those who are hardcore and they are very practicing, firstly, I don't expect them to listen to me. And if they do, I know that they just listen to a little snippet. A lot of the times they wouldn't understand what you've done. I studied in Medina Munawwara in 1991 onwards for a few years. And I can tell you that I was also very hard initially and rigid with what I learned and the way I wanted to do things. But when I got home, my father told me, sit and watch the people for a whole year. Don't go out and start talking to them until you see them for 1 whole year. So for a whole year, I was just sitting and watching, teaching little children alif and ba at this madrasa. And it was very humbling because I was bubbling and bursting with a lot, and ended up teaching at a madrasa adjacent to the masjid. I was leading the salawat, barely ever spoke to anyone, and so on. And then by the time I opened my mouth, I was already calm. I already saw that, you're trying to bring people into an ideal situation, and we're living in a non-ideal world. So it's really a beautiful experience to have had someone who's an expert in addressing people, discipline you and your own wishes at the same time, bringing the two together.
Yeah. Allah, Sheikh, similar to you when I first started about maybe 26, 27 years ago.
Similar, mashallah.
Very similar. I was pretty fiery.
Yes.
And as time went on, you kind of ease up a little bit. You change your approach as you know the people.
Yes, so people say you watered down. We've never watered down. We've just changed approach. And yes, there may be certain things that we might be more accommodating regarding because of how we've learned about evidences of difference of opinion that we did not know before, and we are bound by evidence. So if someone shows me an evidence to prove a certain rule or ruling, I will acknowledge it, even if I feel that it may not be the most correct, but there is a scope of it being correct. Leave it be. It doesn't mean that what I always said is the absolute truth when there is evidence otherwise. And this is the reason why we have ikhtilaf among the Sahaba, among the Tabi'een, among the A'imma, among the scholars. It's okay for as long as it's within a certain scope. So I know that over the years we face criticism from people who are not experts in the field of da'wah, or they may be very, very knowledgeable and we look up to them in a way, but they don't know the field you are working in.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I can relate with you with that. I was raised in Australia, in the West. Yourself, Sheikh.
In Africa, basically.
Africa, and you've travelled the world,
yes,
and you understand.
Yes.
The more you meet the people, you do realise that the approach and the language that you have to use with them has to resonate.
Definitely.
Some people don't understand that language, subhanAllah. I sat with you, Sheikh, many times. And we went through the whole Aqeedah. And I find that your Aqeedah is from, mashallah, it's sound and safe. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, alhamdulillah.
May Allah Almighty grant us all acceptance, you know. And I've sat with you many times, and just for interest's sake, I first got to know you from Brother Azad in Sri Lanka.
I do remember that time.
Yes, and he told me Bilal Assad, and I said, who's that? He said, he is someone from Australia. And I knew that, well, if he relates to this person, it means he must be someone. And then I heard some of your lectures back in the day when you used to wear cotton Turkish style kufi on your head.
Yes, I wore that.
Yes.
Like your one?
No, the one made of like cotton, you know. The
woven.
Cotton. Yes, woven.
Yes.
And I saw this young guy, you know, strong looking, and the speech was always correct in the sense that I agreed with it. Oh, mashallah, you know, mashallah. I said, okay, this is a good guy. And I always have an eye for people who are beautiful in their approach and don't compromise, but still they are understanding and accommodating of different temperaments, of different types of people, and they don't just bash everyone. So I have an eye for those people, and I found quite a lot, and mashallah, they're like-minded in a great sense, and that's why we enjoy the interactions.
You know, Sheikh, because I'll tell you what, some people, when they listen to someone else, they take things literally, and others, they know how to read between the lines. They understand what this person is actually saying. And I've listened to you very carefully and found that, subhanAllah, I understand what Mufti Menk is doing here. You're saying something in a way where other people can take it, and then you'll build on it afterwards, and then third time, and then fourth time, and help the people go step by step. Because, as we say, بَشِّرُوا وَلَا تُنَفِّرُوا يَسِّرُوا وَلَا تُعَسِّرُوا, as the Prophet ﷺ said. Give good news and glad tidings. Don't give bad news all the time and negativity. And make people happy, don't make them sad. And sometimes we may say something, and people may take that completely out of context. Say, no, you meant that. Sometimes I look and say, no, I didn't mean that. SubhanAllah, you should understand what I'm trying to do with these people. Yes. We live in a time where young people are suffocating, they're drowning. And unity is very, very important between us. We have to work together. And that's why I'm here in the UK with you, and Sheikh Omar Sulaiman, Sheikh Abu Bakr Zod, and the rest, Sheikh Wa'il. And people are so excited to see how we're together. Because people are, why do you think, Sheikh? Why do you think people, we had so many comments in our hugs, for example, that we put on Instagram. Why do you think people are so happy to see this unity and this brotherhood?
A simple reason.
Tell us.
There is too much of the opposite out there. It's unbelievable to see this happening when everyone is just bickering, fighting, squabbling. You know, it's a war out there between not just scholars, but even general Muslims. You know, people, I mean, there are a few things. One is this qadiyya al-Falastiniya, which is our qadiyya. Yeah. This whole Palestine thing is our problem, it's our issue, right? And we take it seriously. And the way the infighting amongst the people, just pointing fingers at you did and you didn't do and you're not doing and you're doing and you're not doing and you're supposed to be doing, that itself is already a show of frustration. So I excuse people, and I was saying people don't know what we've done and they haven't listened to the lectures. They say, you've never spoken, you've never done. I have. And what am I supposed to do? Answer you back to say, no, I have, or no. If you haven't heard it, remember, it's not my problem. And another thing is, there are other things that I have done that you cannot do.
Yes.
I don't tell you didn't do this, you did, because I know it's not in your capacity. It's okay.
It's a big responsibility. You have to understand the people you're talking to as well.
Yes.
I've sat with you a lot, Sheikh.
Allah.
And I know, alhamdulillah, that you call to the Kitab and the Sunnah.
Allahumma lakal hamd. May Allah make it that way. And we're open to correction.
No.
We're open to correction.
And we always correct each other.
Yes, it's true. We do.
And this name calling, وَلَا تَنَابَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, don't call each other names. Advise one another, wanting the best for your brothers. This is how we have to work together. Wallahi, I love all my brothers and sisters, even those who possibly will
say
do
bad
the
things.
wrong thing and say the bad things. We want the best for each other.
Yes,
Ya akhi. That's how
100%.
Rasulullah
Yes, that's
sallallahu
true.
was. Shaykhna al-Habib.
It feels like a letdown sometimes.
Feels like a letdown, but at the end of the day, we want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And our hum and our worry is the ummah, the community, these young people who are just searching for any identity. And Shaykh, something really that always makes me extremely happy. When I was back in the days, when I was a kid, you go into a masjid, people were over 40, hardly any children. Whenever they see a shaykh, oh, he's just a shaykh, doesn't know what's going on, they walk away from them. Do you see now, even children as young as 7 years old see a shaykh and they look at them as if they are superstars. They're a soccer player that's just hopped out, playing for a big team or something. Do you see this difference, subhanAllah? Why do you think this is the case at the moment?
I think it's because there's a lot of work that has, an effort that has been put into creating that type of an environment. I mean, I remember a time, and I'm sure you do, you are a vehicle of it, knowingly or unknowingly. I remember a time when the approach changed, and there are a lot of people who came in with a softer approach. They have netted in many more people than before. And this is why I say earlier, and I said, I pity those who are so harsh and hard. They don't realize they're catering for a small niche.
No.
But we live in the Western world where the real life issues that are being faced by the people need to be taken into consideration when you're talking to them. We have little kids who are being bombarded with all sorts of things from a young age in their syllabuses in the schools in some countries. And then you expect them to listen to you and you're going to bombard them from another angle. You need to show them with love, talk to them, smile at them, be humble, cater for them. I remember when I went into cartoons at one stage, the people were refuting and saying all sorts of things. I just looked down, kept on doing my work. They don't know, one day they will be in it. And now many people are joining and many people are in it. They've realized that if you do a little study as to the consumption of cartoon material of Muslim children, you'll be shocked. Nearly every child is somehow connected to it. What Islamic content do you have? It is less than 2% today, less than 2%. Is it not your duty as a leader to cater for them, to make content for them? If no one wants to do it, you do it. And you know what? It will go very, very far, because from that little age, you've already created in them an interest in a person who's religious, imam of the masjid, salah, the du'as, so many more things. People are using that to literally to fulfill their agendas. Ours is the deen of Allah that we need to serve.
No.
So some people don't see the light in it. They say, no, it's haram, you can't do this. That. Okay, you do your thing, let's do our thing. But the sad part is they begin to attack and block and hinder without understanding we're catering for your children and grandchildren.
No.
But it's okay.
Sheikh, I've been in education as a teacher for 17 years in one school, and another 3 years at another, nearly 20 years. And you yourself have been a teacher, so we understand from the perspective of education. And when it comes to education, you've got to understand the minds of these young people. So we can tell you have to be creative and innovative. And I remember listening to Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahmatullah alayh. He was a bit open-minded because he listened to the different mindsets of people and knew that, hold on a minute, it's not just Saudi, the whole world is a little bit different in the different cultures. And when social media first came out, he was one of the first to say, you need to go in and beat the traffic into social media. You can't let the others go in and play with the minds of our youth. You need to go in and take it over.
Yeah, slightly before the revolution of social media. He had already said that, yes.
I'm just taking it as he's telling us, go into the creativity, and wherever it is, and you take it over, because you've got to reach the minds of these youngsters.
I'll give you a quick example, if you don't mind.
Tafadhal.
Recently, the controversy of sisters wearing an abaya, are they allowed to wear a coat on top of that abaya? So a debate, and people said haram, and they said whatever they said. And
like a coat like this one?
A coat like that one on top of the abaya, basically.
No.
And something bigger. So if you look at the answers of the scholars, now I have my approach, my way of dealing with it, trying to accommodate the 95% of the Muslims who are not very practicing. I mean, when I tell you 95%, I really